immigration enforcement. I think that it should be humane. I talk about our pride in being a sanctuary city in terms of the policies that we practice. I'll give you an example of those policies. We are willing to work with the federal government on more than 170 serious crimes if someone has been convicted of them. What we are unwilling to do.
Wait, did you catch that? The progressive mayor of New York City just openly admitted he is ready to work with the feds for mass deportations. You have to see the rest of this.
Is to participate in civil immigration enforcement with a federal government that has said openly it wants to deport a vast majority of people for crimes that we will never even know.
Yes.
Look at the absolute shift in tone here. Zohran Mamdani is sitting down with the New York Times, and as an immigrant himself, he is openly stating that he wants to work with federal immigration enforcement. This is a massive departure from typical sanctuary city rhetoric that we've heard for the last decade. It shows a breaking point. When you have progressive leaders realizing that they have to draw a hard line on 170 serious crimes, you know the pressure from the citizens has reached a boiling point. But it's not just about the policy itself, it's the signaling. He is signaling to the moderate base that he isn't completely captured by the far-left abolitionist movement. You have to wonder how the Democratic Socialists of America are going to react to one of their own saying he's ready to deport people. It completely fractures the coalition. The tension in that room is palpable, and the reporter almost seems taken aback that he's actually doubling down on this. It's a total political earthquake hiding in plain sight.
To visit New York for the UN General Assembly. You pledged during your campaign and after you won to order his arrest to comply with the International Criminal Court warrant. What will happen if he comes in September?
Look, I believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu belongs in The Hague. He's a war criminal who has been charged by the International Criminal Court. And what you will find is that is an opinion that is held by many purely because of what his actions have wrought.
Hold on. Rewind that in your mind for a second. This is the exact same mayor we just saw talking about strict border enforcement, now pivoting to international geopolitics. He is openly stating that if the Prime Minister of Israel steps foot in New York City for the UN General Assembly, he would attempt to have him arrested. Look at the sheer confidence when he drops that line. The interviewer presses him on the logistics, but he doesn't flinch. It is wildly unprecedented for a city mayor to try and enforce International Criminal Court warrants. You have to realize the constitutional nightmare this would cause. The federal government handles foreign policy, not the local NYPD. The fact that a local official is even entertaining this shows a massive shift in how local politics are being used for global virtue signaling. Whether you agree with his stance or not, the sheer audacity to bypass the State Department and essentially declare New York City an independent enforcement arm of The Hague is staggering. It's a political stunt, but one with massive diplomatic shockwaves.
You told J.D. Vance you're open, your vote is up for grabs.
Yes, my vote is in.
You told J.D. Vance you're open, your vote is up for grabs.
Yes, my vote is in play because it can't be Trump running.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not living in communist America. I mean, I know the talking point is that, well, it's not communism, it's socialism. Okay, I've read the quotes from the DSA platform, from their own mouths. Don't tell me I'm not seeing what I am seeing. And DSA, again, they say things like, takeover of key industries, government. That's communism. There is a definition.
By the way, Trump's doing that too.
Of course. Yes.
And to a degree that we haven't seen any other president, Democrat or Republican, do.
Did you hear that? Bill Maher, a guy who has practically been a staple of Democratic fundraising and left-leaning comedy for decades, just looked directly at the camera and said his vote is in play for a Republican ticket. Pay close attention to his body language. He's not laughing. This isn't a punchline. He is genuinely frustrated. When he talks about not wanting to live in a communist America, you can hear the exhaustion in his voice. This isn't just a random celebrity hot take. This is a massive cultural bellwether. If the traditional, old-school liberal base is starting to feel alienated by the new progressive wing, that spells absolute disaster for the party's coalition. He's actively pointing out that the Democratic Socialists of America are pushing policies that are pushing lifelong Democrats out the door. The fact that he's openly giving J.D. Vance an opening on national television is something nobody would have predicted 5 years ago. It really shows how much the political spectrum has shifted and how the center is completely collapsing.
It complicates things that you've got these very far left candidates winning, and so it complicates things that you've got these very far left candidates winning and socialists now in leadership positions. I mean, you've got the mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani, threatening that he will have Benjamin Netanyahu arrested if he comes to New York for the UNGA, which is happening in September. What are your thoughts here on Mamdani threatening to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he comes to the U.S.?
It's such a tough guy to say that kind of thing. He has no way to do that. Of course, obviously, America's not even part of that corrupt court.
Now look at Senator John Fetterman's reaction to this whole circus. Fetterman used to be the darling of the progressive left, but watch how he completely dismisses the New York mayor here. He literally calls him a clown. You can see Fetterman leaning in, totally unbothered, just dismantling the whole idea that a city mayor has any jurisdiction over an international head of state. It's fascinating to watch this civil war happening in real time within the party. Fetterman is essentially telling the far left to sit down and focus on actual local problems, like fixing potholes and taking out the trash, instead of trying to play Secretary of State. The tension here is amazing because Fetterman knows he has the moderate backing to say this out loud. He's refusing to play along with the performative politics, and it's driving the radical wing absolutely crazy. When a sitting U.S. senator from your own party tells you to stay in your lane on national television, that is a brutal public takedown. The fragmentation we are witnessing is just unprecedented.
Tired of a set of people on the very far left in the Democratic Party, my party, telling us that in order for us to be progressives, we now have to believe ideas and support ideas that are completely nuts. I am a progressive Democrat. In other words, everything that's good in our party, I believe in, have believed in for a long time. Do I want universal health care, Medicare for all, whatever you want to call it? Absolutely. If you are sick, you should be able to go see a doctor. That's a good idea. I want free education for everybody as long as they want to keep learning. I think that's a good idea. The Green New Deal, I'm the author of the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal is my phrase from my first book in 2008. There's nobody more committed to criminal justice reform than me, ecological solutions, the whole deal. These are our ideals as progressives. We should fight.
Wait, did you catch the frustration in Van Jones's eyes right there? Van Jones has been a progressive champion for years. He literally wrote the book on the Green New Deal. But look at his hands as he talks. He is visibly exasperated. He is essentially reading the riot act to his own party's extreme wing. He lists off universal health care and free education as good things, but then he hits a brick wall. He's pointing out that the push to completely abolish prisons, abolish the police, and dismantle borders is completely alienating the working class. It's one thing for a conservative commentator to say this, but hearing it from a legacy progressive like Van Jones is a massive wake-up call. He's warning them that this hyper-radical ideology is political suicide. You can tell he feels like the movement he helped build has been hijacked by extremists who don't live in reality. When the guy who pioneered modern progressive policy is telling you that you've gone too far, you have officially lost the plot. The internal panic is real.
Get some Democrats.
Democrats are cowardly.
Yeah.
They're cowardly. Their party is being taken over now by, every day I hear about a new, very radical. I feel very good about 10 whenever years ago, like I did lose fans because, I wasn't going to go along with some of this crazy stuff on the left, too. I didn't change really on what I thought about the right, but I can't sit and just not notice stuff, which people seem to want to do because it's all about my team or your team. But, yeah, there's some crazy stuff. When we're cheering for the Intifada, I'm out.
Let's circle back to Bill Maher for a second, because the context of his frustration is key here. Notice how he specifically mentions losing fans over the last 10 years. He's openly admitting that the audience he built his career on has turned against him, but he's standing his ground. He says he hasn't changed, the left has changed. When he brings up the cheering for the Intifada, you can see the absolute disbelief on his face. He's pointing out a massive ideological purity test that has taken over the political landscape. If you don't agree with 100% of the most extreme talking points, you are suddenly the enemy. He's highlighting the exact mechanism of cancel culture, but he's doing it from a place of defiance rather than fear. This clip is so important because it represents the silent majority of moderates who are looking around and wondering how everything got so extreme so fast. It takes a lot of guts to tell your own audience that they are the ones who went crazy. The political landscape is shifting faster than ever. Drop a comment below. Who do you think is actually right here? Hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next breakdown.